On the doorstep of turning 31 in a couple weeks, I figured I would do a reflection on the things that I've learned in my 20s. I wrote a post about this a year ago and I'd been meaning to get it out there, so here's the video a year later. The first thing I would tell myself, and this is going to be a list of things that I would go back and I would tell myself, a younger Josh, much more clueless, much less a lot of things, and much more naive. The first thing I would tell myself is to fail and to not be afraid of failing. In your 20s, it's not likely that you're going to hit the home run and make $1 billion. It does happen, but it's not the norm. And I think that in our society, we have to get back to the point that it's not the norm. In your 20s, you hardly know who you are as a person, likely. And the things that you are good at, you might not even know what you're good at. Unless you were honing a craft and a skill from your teen years and it was your everything, and now you spent your 20s just perfecting it, your 20s are likely going to be a decade of failures and minor successes. But you can't let that scare you. You have to not be afraid to take the leap and to fail. Because there are numerous businesses that I personally started that didn't go anywhere. There were businesses that actually took off and did very well. But the things that you learn from those failures is what translates into your 30s and later. So that's the first thing I would tell myself, is do not be afraid to fail. And it's only a failure if you stop, if you quit and you don't learn from those failures. The second thing I would tell myself is to learn. Don't concentrate on earning all the time. Focus on learning your craft. At the age of, I think, 24, I had never built a computer. I have never done anything with computers. Never programmed, never written a line of code, written a line of code rather. I was clueless. I was this clueless. I remember when I was going to college and I bought a computer because it had more hard drive space, because I thought that that's what made the difference between a good and a better computer. So I had no idea. I was clueless. I learned a tremendous amount in my 20s about computers, networking, video production, sales, psychology, everything. It was a love of learning that really brought me to where I am today in everything that I do. So you have to focus on learning. Don't focus on making money. Focus on the skills that you can acquire that will be valuable in the future and how you can help other people. Those are massive points that I would remind myself of, is that I spent the first few years of my 20s, how do I make money? How do I make money? How do I make money? Learn, become valuable, have skills that you can help people with, and then that will come later. That's what I would say. Point number 2. Point number 3 is, I would say, seek real relationships. You're gonna have a lot of friends that you went to high school with that may no longer be your friends in your 20s. It's just the nature of growing up and kind of trying to find who you are as a person. Seek the relationships that are actually deep, that have depth to them, that you can talk to the person about anything. If you're looking at romantic relationships, seek exactly the same thing. Dating around is fun until it's not. And the massive thing that I learned in my 20s is that the depth of a relationship is everything. It matters so much more than all of the surface level things combined. Can you be yourself around that person? Can you have the conversations that you never thought you would have with another person? These are all things that I would go back and say, hey Josh, snap out of it. Start looking for depth in your friendships and your relationships. You'll be so much happier because of it. One thing I'll add to that is make sure that your friends are the kind that you could call at 3 a.m. when you've had your car break down and would come to you. Because there's been many times that I had put myself out there and offered help to other people when the shoe was on the other foot, it didn't come back to me. So understand that that is a true mark of a true friend. Point number 4 is get and stay as physically fit as you possibly can. When I was 20 years old, I fell while snowboarding off of a drop off and I broke my back. The only thing that really saved me, I think, was my level of physical fitness and my mindset as well. But it was really the fact that I was training all of the time and I had the ability to recover because of the strength that I had built up over 4 years of being in the gym prior to my accident. It's a lot easier to recover when you have traumatic issues, traumatic injuries, sicknesses, whatever, when you're actually physically healthy. So focus on your health and allow it to guide your every decision in what you eat, how you carry yourself, etc. As I go into my 30s, I go in with some physical pains, but I think that they'd be tremendously more painful. I'd probably be on painkillers. I'd probably be, who knows, if I wasn't focused on health. Number 5 ties into number 2. Read a ton. You should be reading every single day. It should be something that you love to do. And if you don't love reading, read things that you enjoy reading. And then all of a sudden, you're going to find that you do love reading. Reading is a way that you can hop into the mind of another person. So don't be afraid of reading fiction. Read nonfiction, read fiction, read everything. Because in fiction, the author is giving you a commentary on what they think about human nature, about society, about politics, about whatever. Read these things. And then translate what applies to you in your life. I try to read 25 pages per day. I read it on my Kobo before I go to sleep. I read the Bible when I wake up. These are things that have become habits over the past 10 years. 25 pages is not that much, but it translates to something like 30 or 40 books per year, depending on the length of the book. Don't be afraid to read. And don't fall for the reading is too slow shtick that everybody seems to be coming out with in this modern day and age. Reading is not dead. Read a lot. Number 6 is, I would say, get the consumption of alcohol out of your system. When I was younger, 10 years ago, I was hungover all of the time. I would go out 3 times a week. It was crazy. I got it out of my system early though. By the age of like 23, I don't think I've been hungover for more than a day, a year since. And I don't really think that in the future it's going to be something that is going to be done intentionally, we'll put it that way. As you get further into your 20s, you notice the effects of alcohol so much more. By the end of my 20s, I couldn't do things that I previously could do. I couldn't rally, as they say. I couldn't wake up the next morning and go to work. It wouldn't be something that I could do. And hangovers, instead of being a day, turned into 2 or 3 days. You can't afford to lose that time. So if you're going to party or something like that, just take it easy, moderate yourself, get it out of your system. But when you're going into your 30s, it becomes a little bit lame, to be honest with you. If you're focusing on your health, you lose a lot of your gains that you make in the gym too when you go and get drunk on a Friday or Saturday night. 3 days, 4 days, you're not back to your strength levels. So just avoid it as much as possible. Number 7, I would say, is kill your ego. Allow yourself to suck at things. In your 20s, you're not going to be good at everything you try. Far from it. But you got to try. As long as you try, and as long as you allow yourself to look stupid, you'll find the things that you enjoy and the things that you actually do have a possibility of being really good at. the first stroke of a brush when you're painting, you're not going to be Michelangelo. I was lucky that at the age of 20, I had my ego shattered because of my accident. When you are a healthy, athletic 20-year-old and you lose everything in the realm of athletics, you're not the same person anymore. And you lose that sense of who you are, and you have to reinvent yourself. I was lucky because I was forced to reinvent myself. And looking back on it, I would do it all over again because it caused me to realize that I'm not the things that I was previously defining myself as. So allow yourself to kill the ego. Allow yourself to expand beyond who you think that you are and find out who you actually are. Number 8 and number 9 are kind of tied. I would say move out of your hometown. In 2019, I moved to Montreal for 4 or 5 months, and it was the best experience I possibly could have had. I got away from home, but not only that, I realized that I had this almost unspoken about ceiling over my head in my hometown. And when I returned, I felt that kind of pressure again. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because you are around the people you grew up with, their beliefs about you kind of limit you. I don't know what it is, but it's something that I personally experienced, that when I left and I went somewhere else that I didn't know anybody, I could be more of myself. And it was this massive growth experience for me because I no longer had to be somebody that people wanted me to be. I highly recommend you get away from the hometown, find yourself somewhere else, even if it's for a few months, and see who you actually are as a person, who you're capable of being without those subconscious limitations that you place upon yourself. And number 9 is I would remove the people that are placing those limitations on you in your life. What I mean by this is there are people that are like crabs in buckets and they pull people down because it makes them feel better about themselves. Remove these people from your life. It's better for you to not have these limiters on who you possibly can be, because you can grow so much in that 10 years that when you talk to these people, you go to that high school reunion, don't go to your high school reunion. These people won't recognize who you are. And that's a good thing. If you can recognize people from 10 years ago and they are exactly the same as they were, it's not a good place to be. So cut out the people that are negative, the people that are perpetual storm clouds, the people that you don't feel like you can be yourself with. And it's better for them too, because those people are likely better matched with other people. Don't waste their time. Don't waste your own time. Some people are energetic vampires. They suck the energy out of the room and out of you. So much so that when you return home after hanging out with them, you feel like you're worse off. If that is who you're hanging out with, it's pretty easy to know what to do. Stop hanging out with those people. Find the people that lift you up and the people that make you feel far more alive in being with them. Number 10 is you need to be completely present. And your 20s is a great opportunity to learn how to be present. What I mean by this is that a lot of the time when you're talking to somebody or you are having an experience, whatever, you're at dinner and you're across the table, are people actually there? You can be. And how you do that is to embrace the moment that you're living in, the person that's across from you, the conversation you're having. Be in the moment. Be present. Be there. Be 100% there. Don't have your mind somewhere else. Don't have your phone in front of your face. Be present. Learn how to do this. It's a skill. It takes a lot of practice. But once you do it, you'll never go back to being someone that is distracted when the moment is all that you actually have. Number 11 is comparison is the thief of all joy. In your 20s, it's very easy to fall into the comparison trap. What is this person doing? What car do they drive? Did they buy a house? What relationship are they in? All of these different things, none of them matter, but they will take away the joy that you have right now. If you're on social media, stop using it to doom scroll. Stop using it to see what other people are doing, and use it as a way to communicate who you are to the world. That's the only purpose of social media, and the only way that I would recommend you use it. It's not something that you should be spending hours and hours and hours on per day. It should be only something to show the world who you are and nothing more. If you're not doing that, don't use it. Don't look at what other people are doing. Don't concentrate on what they're doing. There's that meme of Michael Phelps and the swimmer next to him. I think it's who that is. And it's winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. It's that simple. Stop looking at what other people are doing and focus completely and utterly on what you can change and do in this moment. And the last point I'll make is I believe that your 20s is a great opportunity to find love, to find yourself, and to find purpose. In your 20s, you have the opportunity to explore all sorts of things, places, people, skills, work, whatever. Use that time to set yourself on a springboard towards your future. If you can find that special person in your 20s, and I was lucky to, do it. But you won't find your purpose by sitting around. You won't find your purpose by watching videos. You only find that which you love and that which you love to do by actually getting out there and doing it. I spent a few years in my 20s not doing that. And this cloud loomed over me. The moment that I stepped out of the four walls, that's when everything changed. You have to just jump. Self is not pondered. Self is not thought about. Self is created. And you can only create yourself by moving forward, by doing, by experiencing, by trying things, by being. That's my reflection on the things that I learned in my 20s and what I would tell myself as a much younger man. If you like this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. It's me again. My book, Mountain, A Field Guide to Summiting Life, is now available on Amazon in print. It will also always be available at mountainthebook.com in PDF format. So if you like this video and want to support the channel, feel free to go pick up a copy, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.